Here we have Richard. I felt a little contrived there. Here we have Richard. But you can see he's doing much better. 1, 2, 3. That's like 20 breaths per minute. Really precious. And, well, I had my first date. I'm really tired right now. Like, I probably shouldn't even be talking because I'm so tired. And the fucking microphone is probably gonna die. Look, it's red. That means... Oh shit. That means it's out of batteries. I think. I mean, obviously it does, but when it beeps red or when it's solid red, it's actually different. So let me just turn my music down. Listening to Aladdin Khan. He lived, until he was 109 years old. He was one of Osho's friends. And so I had my first date, and it was pretty cool. And basically, I had my second date, and it was actually pretty cool. But it was like a continuation of the first date. And I actually felt like a loser, kind of. I was like, oh, hey, like... resting on my laurels instead of just having a... Well, it was pretty cool, actually. It was a pretty nice conversation, really. I felt just a tiny bit like I was hamming it up. Like, oh yes, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Isn't it great? Okay, I don't really know what else to say, so isn't it really great that we're boyfriend and girlfriend? It kind of felt a little bit like that. And then when I had to call back again, I was kind of a little bit nervous. Like, oh great, it's gonna be more like, oh hey, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, right? Okay, cool. And, well, it just made me feel like she thinks I'm a loser and she dumped me. That's really what I thought. But I also think girls who are really attractive don't give you signs either way. And she also told me that she has urinary tract infections, and I have one. And I was like, oh great, she's telling me that they're giving me a urinary tract infection. But you know, whatever. That's not really bothersome. That's neither here nor there. Truthfully, what I felt was that I was a bit lame. Like I was a loser, actually. And you know, at the time I didn't feel like that. At the time, after we talked, I was like, that was great. I was like, that was fucking great. And I was really upset to call back because I was like, that was so great. I don't want to even try and top that. I want to leave on a good note because I didn't even want to call back after. And I kind of waited too. I got home. I was like, okay, let's call. And I was like, no, I want to wait a little bit. And I was scared. I was actually scared. And when you're scared and you don't do the thing that you want to do, it makes you feel like bad about yourself. And so I felt kind of defeated that I waited until like 10 o'clock to say like, okay, now I'll call. And then I was almost thinking, I hope she doesn't answer because fucking not even in the mood right now. I'm scared. I don't want her to see that I'm scared. And so anyways, then I was thinking, and I don't know why I'm laughing. Okay, I'm. It's not that this is a joke to me. Okay, this is nervous laughter, I think. Then I was thinking, why don't you, stop cranking your pecker for a couple weeks? And because I left a message saying I'll call you in 2 weeks. And why don't you stop cranking your pecker for 2 weeks and eat fruit? Become raw vegan for 2 weeks, just like you wanted, right? Yeah, okay. And then I'm thinking, well, really, she's just playing you and she doesn't really like you and it's all a joke to her and she has a boyfriend. She probably has a husband. She's probably watching you while she has sex with her husband. Probably something like that. It's probably totally fucked up. It's probably so hideous that you can't even imagine. And she's betting on and actually I have to stop myself because she's really sweet, actually, and I don't actually think she's that evil, okay? I don't even think she's evil. Really, truthfully, I think that she does love me. Really, I do. And it's actually scary for me to think that. That's really the truth. And because I really don't want to think that and then find out that it's not true. That's really the truth. And because how pathetic is that? Everyone's watching, and I'm like, yeah. And then right at the end, she's like, fuck you. Can you imagine how embarrassing that is? And then even I'm getting a little bit corny, saying, yeah, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, kind of dressing it up a little bit, because that's my admission that I'm feeling already apprehensive or suspicious. I'm already kind of making, not intentionally a mockery, but kind of a sabotage that, well, I don't really want to talk about just what's natural. Instead, I just want to talk about, I love you. That's what I want to say. I don't really know what to say, so let me just say I love you over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's kind of how I felt. And then I thought, well, why don't I just be healthy so that I feel more attractive? Because I honestly think that if she really thinks that I'm as hot as I think she is, what that means is that it actually is better to be tall. And to be short and to be as attractive as a tall person, as a short person, you actually have to be better looking. You have to have a better face. You have to have better proportions. You have to be more symmetrical. And so for me to think that as someone as hot as her is actually attracted to me would have to mean that our height difference is the thing that allows me to have these lanky arms and this asymmetrical face. And if that were true, that would actually blow my mind. That would actually really seriously blow my mind. Because as far as I'm concerned, she's better looking than me, and I'm more spiritual than her. And that's the deal that we have. That's why we like each other. But if she's actually enlightened, and I'm actually enlightened, and we're actually as hot as each other, that would really surprise me. And I don't know. So if I do all this hard work, I'm not jacking off and eating fruit and drinking water, well, that's going to be a big disappointment in 2 weeks if she doesn't answer. And I'm so happy, and I'm making a big deal out of it, and I'm telling everyone, okay, I'm going to call my girlfriend in 2 weeks. You know, that would just humiliate the fuck out of me. And part of me is saying, well, you're having so much fun already. Just this is what you've wanted. You've wanted to have a reason to get healthy. And so do it. And just, if she's fooling you and tricking you, well, so what? Then that's her bad Bobby behavior. So just, be happy. Well, yeah, that's exactly right. But you can, I'm not even going to go into it, okay? I'm not even going to go into it. But you could see why I'd think that she's not into me. You could see why I'd think that. But you never know. Because that could be gang stalking. And you could see why she'd not be into me just by the fact that I'm scared that she's not into me. Just by the fact that I'm thinking, well, you're just so great, you just would never love me. And she's going, well, I guess not. I guess that's what you're telling me. And then I'm even thinking, well, and I know this is really convoluted, and I'm sorry. And then I'm thinking, what was I thinking again? Well, I can't remember, but I think it was something bad, actually. Something, you would never love me. And, oh, yeah. And then I was thinking, no, actually, your intuition was right. Your first intuition was right. That you had a good time. That, yeah, it was a little bit awkward, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't even bad at all. It was just, like, I don't know. It was just perfect. And then after the fact, you couldn't even believe it. And you were like, yeah, no, I don't know, But you were happy. Before you called her, you were thinking, okay, she's great. After you called her, you thought she's really great. After you called her again, you thought she's just the best. And then you had the doubts. Oh no, what are you gonna, how are you gonna top this one? How are you gonna have a better date next time? And when I used to hang out with I also said something weird too, but whatever, I don't think it was weird actually, but just apparently. And I used to hang out with my cousin all the time, and the same with this girl from a support group I used to go to, and every time I hung out with them, especially my cousin, it was always magical. It always felt like, oh my god, this was so much fun, and I can't even believe how much fun this was. And it just kept topping each other. Every time we would just have more and more fun. The trust would go more and more. Have you ever had that? I don't know if you've ever had that, but I never had siblings much growing up. I had my cousins, and then I had my half-sister when I was like 20-something. And then, I stopped being my cousin's favorite people when I was like 13 or 14. And that was devastating for me. I was God to them. And then all of a sudden they trusted everyone else more than me. But then when I was in my older days, my cousin realized that I'm her favorite again. And so we had good friendship all the time. And our friendship had a dynamic progression that every time we hung out, we had more friendship. And I quickly realized, you're my best friend, and I love you so much. And nothing even matters anymore because everything is so awesome with you here. And oh my god, and this is just the best, and I can't believe it. And I have so much respect for you, and every nuance and idiosyncrasy of how much respect I have for you, you actually perceive it and you appreciate it. And there's no detail too small that you don't appreciate it. And I thought, oh my god, I've got the home for you. I felt like she was singing that for me. Like if there were certain trigger words I didn't like, she just knew without even me having to say them. She would know, don't say that word. And she'd make the sentence work around certain words. Things that would upset me. She was totally accommodating to how completely insane I was. And it was amazing. But she bumped into someone I had a crush on, and then I freaked out on her, and we lost our relationship. And because I thought she did it on purpose. I thought she bumped into someone who I loved on purpose, and I said, nuh-uh, you can't do that to someone I love. No, you can't. Doesn't matter who you are. You bump into someone I love, you're my best friend. I don't like you at all. That's what I said. And well, now I think, well, the girl who she bumped into was a total piece of shit, and fuck her. I'm glad she did it. Not really. I don't approve of vigilante violence, but I'm thinking what I'm going to say after the but. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to say yet. But the people who she bumped into had gotten aggressively close to me. So who knows what that meant. But anyways, I don't really blame her. What can I say? And I'm happy to be her friend again. I could probably say, because I was scared to hang out with her after that, because I bullied her a lot, and she's not someone who you'd want to piss off. But now I think I could be like, yeah, this is why I was so mad. This is why I just started hating you, and please forgive me. And I would really like to have that as a precedent, that I am capable of having good relationships with people like I have had with you for years, because now I have a new girlfriend, and I think I deserve to be the guy who is capable of not letting a relationship fall apart, who is capable of loving someone and consistently loving them and being a consistently loving, reliable friend and boyfriend. And then the final thought was, okay, you don't really know. Maybe she's messing with you. Maybe she loves you and she really loved you, but then you were just kind of a loser. And it wasn't that you just had kind of low self-esteem after the fact, but really it was during the fact, and she just fell out of love with you, and she doesn't love you anymore, or something like that. Well, then get your health really good, and so if you call her in 2 weeks and she has dumped you, then you can say, well, look, I'm pretty healthy, I'm doing as well as I can, which seems like a total fucking loser thing to do. Like, okay, yeah, she dumped me, but now I can do 20 sit-ups. Like, that's gonna make you actually worse. That's gonna make you feel like the biggest loser in the world. But what's the alternative? You're just gonna sit around cranking your pecker and wait for the day, and then you're not even prepared. You're not even as prepared. Like, don't you want to be so hot that she can't even make you feel like you're missing out? Well, maybe you can't ever feel like that. Maybe you really do love her, and there's no amount of hot you could ever be that would actually make up for it if she stopped loving you. And maybe that's the risk you have to take, that she might actually stop loving you. She might have actually already stopped loving you, and there's nothing you could do that will take that pain away. And therefore, still do your best. Because that's the harder thing to do, and that's the better thing to do. And if you have two choices, take the hard path, because that's easier. Take the easiest path always. And what's the easiest path? It's the hardest path. So yeah, I mean, is this gonna be my last cooked? Am I a raw vegan who doesn't jack off now? Yeah. Do I know how to get apples now without going to the market? Yep. Could I go to the market if I want to, even though I may have freaked out the girls who work there, but then sent them an email saying, hey, if I freaked you out, just tell me and I'll send my mom instead, and they didn't respond? I could go there if I want, but I have a place to get fruit, and ooh. Yeah, and my mom said she might be allowed to come over. Isn't that funny? My mom gave me permission to invite my girlfriend to my house. I asked her if her lips were real. Well, I like her lips, even if they're not real. I think she knows. I think she's not like, were you accusing me of having Botox lips and saying that you don't approve of that? No, I was saying that I like your lips regardless, and I want to know if they're real. I want to know which... well, I'm not going to say it, but anyways, so my mom is thinking of saying yes, which would be so cool, and I'd pay for half her flight, which I'd have to save up for, and I'd pick her up from the airport, and she could have her own bedroom too, because my room is a fucking mess, and and I was like, do you want to be my cat's mom? And I was like, oh God, why did I say that? I was just nervous. I didn't know what to say. It's the truth. I was nervous. But we had authentic moments too. I forgot being nervous for a while, and I just talked for long enough that I forgot that I had to go to the vet, which was nice. When you talk to someone for long enough that you forget you forget your responsibilities. That's nice. So I'm thinking I'm going to call her on October 15th at 6 p.m. And I'm pretty excited, actually. I was scared. I was scared this whole time to call her yesterday and the day before. So maybe that's just part of it. You're just scared. And so, like, who cares if you're scared? Like, I'm not that upset by being scared. What I don't want is to be kind of like, they call it bending to the fear. I don't want the fear to make me act like a fool, or to make me act like some kind of self-sabotage where I'm too corny or I'm too cheesy, something like that. It was very difficult for me to talk to her. But I'm pretty proud of myself. Like, she's like the first 10 who I've talked to without feeling like she's a 10. Like anyone else, I've been like, oh, they're a 10 and I'm an 8. And without me being more spiritual than them, if that makes sense. She was the first 10 I felt like I deserved who I talked to. So how difficult would that be for me if I was just actually getting played by her the whole time? And of course, every time I say stuff like that, I'm imagining her listening to me, and on the secret level, I'm saying, I don't really believe that, I know you love me. And she's saying, yeah, I know, don't worry. And that's nice too. Check out all her spice. This is all gonna be spice. Well, I felt a bit sad when I called her, actually, the second time tonight, or yesterday night. I felt a bit, like, upset. Like I was doing a duty, like, oh, I got a call. Because I was scared. And I let it go. I let it go for like half hour. Which isn't a big deal. She could be saying, oh, I don't care if you let it go for half hour. But for me, I was saying, yeah, I'm scared. I'm just going to leave it go. Oh, no. Because I was on fire. I was on fucking fire. And when you're on fire, you don't want... And you're on fire because the person likes you. Then you're kind of beholden to them. Then you're like, okay, I'm only in heaven here because you like me, and now if you don't like me, I'm fucked. And so I'm actually fucking scared of talking to you now because I'm the coolest guy ever when you like me, and when you don't like me, I'm not that cool. So, and then, you know, there's a lot of other people I like. I'm talking to a lot of people, and people like the veterinarian, like the guy that people who I'm not even necessarily interested in having sex with. There's a lot of people I love. There's a lot of aspects of my life that keep me validated and happy, and the main aspect of it is my own self. That's really the very core of it. Yeah, and on that sense, if we actually do love each other, then saying I love you over and over is actually really cool. It's actually amazing. Like, it's actually amazing. It's not the same as when people don't love each other and they say I love you. It's actually completely not the same. When some people say God, it doesn't mean anything. But when Neem Karali Baba says God, he just says Ram, Ram, Ram. He just writes in his journal, Ram, 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 Ram. Hundreds, thousands of times. That's all he writes. Ram, 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 Ram. And he's enlightened. But Sadhguru, when he says God, he is not enlightened. And it's the same with love. You know, when some people say I love you, it doesn't mean anything. It means, yeah, I was about to dump you until 5 minutes ago, and then I decided at the last minute to not dump you, and now I feel bad, so I'm going to tell you how much I love you. Just to ease my guilt that I was literally about to dump you. Just because it's not self-evident that I love you. I'm going to say it a bunch of times. Well, what? I don't know, I'm thinking. I thought you were enlightened. I thought enlightened people didn't think. Yeah, that's why it's taking me so long to come up with what to say, because I don't think, because I'm enlightened. Don't you believe me? Do you think it's more true when I say, I'm a mentally ill guy who lives with my mom? Or when I say, I'm a Buddha? Well, you're probably thinking it's more true that you're a mentally ill guy. Yeah, whoa, okay. Yeah, fine, you're right. I'm a mentally ill guy who lives with my mom. I'm crazy as... But I'm not. I'm not crazy. I might be mentally ill. I might have low self-esteem and serious self-esteem issues, and that might be true. I might be a mentally ill guy who lives with his mom, who's not enlightened. That feels true to me sometimes. That really feels true to me sometimes. But only when I'm mentally ill. Because clearly I'm a Buddha. And if I wasn't mentally ill, I can't say it. No, I was gonna lie. It wasn't even good. If I wasn't mentally ill, you couldn't know there's a chance you could be a Buddha too. And you'll say that's too far out. You're faking mental illness so that you look relatable, so that when you're not mentally ill, people can say, well, you just made the transition from mentally ill to Buddha, so now I can too. That means you're a bodhisattva. Well, that's your plan? Like, the whole time you're just faking mental illness? Or you're actually inducing mental illness just so you could be relatable to all these fucking retards around you, so that they know it's possible for them too? Or are you actually mentally ill sometimes, and then you're actually a Buddha, and that's actually what it means to be a bodhisattva? That you're 99% enlightened, but you're 1% not. And it's not your plan, it's just how you are. Well, Osho says he's a bodhisattva and an arhat. And an arhat is 100% enlightened and doesn't care about anyone. A bodhisattva is 99% enlightened and cares about everyone. And a bodhisattva says, I'm not becoming 100% enlightened until everyone is enlightened. An arhat says, I don't care about anyone. I'm becoming enlightened right now. What if girlfriend is an arhat and I'm a bodhisattva? What if she's more enlightened than me and I can't perceive it? I've considered that as well. I've considered she's smarter than me and more religious than me and better looking than me. And I'm truly a loser compared to her. And it's only a matter of time before she finds out. But the one thing I have in my corner is that I'm fucking happy. Whatever that means, whoever I am right now is who I am. Pretty much. Pretty much. The guy I am right now is who I am. Whether she dumps me or not, whether she's with me or not, you know, assuming I'm not mentally ill, but with the exception of episodic mental illness, which is only episodic, I actually am the guy who I appear to be. This actually is me, and she appears to actually love this guy. And who she is, I love. If she is who she appears to be, I love who she is. And that's pretty cool to say. So we have to wash a cast iron pan. Cast iron is the very best. I would never cook on anything except cast iron. And for people who say, yeah, but you gotta do the cleaning and you gotta clean it right away and it's inconvenient. Yeah, so is cooking without crunch. What are you, a damn fool? No, you can get the best everything with a cast iron. You know who I'd be curious? This is for the gang stalkers. I'll never know the answer here. You know who I'd be curious if they're a gang stalker or a TI? Is Derek Sarno, the vegan chef. I'd really be curious about him. So I do use soap in the cast iron. And that's because I'm lazy. If I cleaned it right away, I wouldn't have to. See that? Does that look gross? I'm still gonna cook on that pan without cleaning it. Like any, you know, it's oiled now. A little too much oil.